GITEX this week, lots of tech to talk about. I've been talking to a man today about a new piece of technology, a new piece of card technology, all right? It's a dynamic code verification banking card. Sounds exciting, huh?
Yeah.
Do you know what? It's interesting, this, because...
Please, tell me more.
I could tell you, lapping this one up. But look, on the back of your credit card, you've got a 3-digit code, little security code. It's the CVC number, okay? Now, that stays the same, doesn't it? So if somebody stole your card and you didn't notice and they went online, they'd have all the details they needed, your card validity, your card number, your name, and the CVC to buy stuff.
Which has been a problem. We were even talking about credit card fraud last week on the show. So many texts coming in saying that they had experienced the same thing.
Yeah.
So what's the news?
So what if you had a way of that CVC number, that little 3-digit number on the back of your card, changing? What if there was a little battery in your card? Let's just go pie in the sky for a second. A little battery in your card, and it switches the number. A little bit like James Bond's number plates on his card. You know they revolved in the movie? So you get a different number, and that's the number, as it changes with the transaction, that verifies the transaction.
There are some systems that already do this. I know that people using Bloomberg have this system. If they sign in remotely, they get like a little, I don't know, electronic key tag or something, then they press on it and it comes up with a different number that they then need to log in with. So this technology is around, but it's quite a good idea to apply it to bank cards. My question is, though, batteries on the back, is that going to be able to be used in standard machines, etc.?
Well, I have been talking to a man today who can explain. Hsin Hau Hanna, Vice President Global Marketing, Gemalto. They're exhibiting at GITEX, and I asked him how this works.
The card that's in the consumer's hand has software that's coded into it that is that's synchronized with the server that is sitting in the back end. So with a secure key, with a secure encryption, it is generating new 3-digit codes according to a particular time scale, and that is synchronized in the back so that the server always knows what the code should be. And we have a kind of an e-paper kind of type of technology that's embedded in the card that's powered by a battery that lasts for good, it has to last long enough as per the bank's normal refreshment rate of your card. So, you don't change your cards except once every 2 to 3 years. So we make sure that the cards that the banks are issued can last that long, can produce a new password every 20 minutes. And there's not a new password for logging. It's a new dynamic CVV. It's what people are familiar with. A CVV, when you go to online shopping, very often the websites would ask you to enter your card number and then ask you for these 3-digit code that's typically printed on the back of your card. Yeah. So what's different this time is that there's a little display on the back of the card that shows a different number every 20 minutes. So if someone steals your card or someone steals your CVV code, in 20 minutes that's gone.
I have a question.
Go on.
So say if someone actually has your card, physically has your card, and they can still generate that number on the back because it will be displayed on the back, the new number, every 20 minutes.
It will, and that's something you have to get around by calling your card provider and cancelling the card. But that's, the ultimate eventuality, isn't it?
Right.
So if you lose the card, the protocol is if you lose the credit card, you call as soon as you realise.
Yes.
And obviously it's cancelled, so the whole card is then cancelled, so it won't work anyway.
So this is
very
just
little you can do about that.
In situations where you don't know if your credit card has been scanned, etc.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's the scanning, or if your details have been hacked from websites. That's happened a lot with some major corporations. So that's one of the things they're talking about. The other thing is, and we won't hear a lot about this now, but I just thought it was interesting. He was talking about different ways of paying for stuff, and he brought up the example of a rugby match in the UK where they trialled bracelets, cash bracelets, if you like, where you load a certain amount of money to a card, and everything in the ground is linked to this bracelet. So any festivities going on, you want to buy a program, you pay with the card, and the queues are shorter. You pay for your burger at halftime and they've tried that. It was very successful, and people got used to it. It worked. And I said, well, what other things are you thinking about? What are the banks trying to give their customers that might be different? What are people asking for? And he said, we've had requests for bracelets, obviously. That's a standard thing, easy thing to carry. People have asked for earrings.
That to me is bizarre, out of everything.
But the point was, and this is what was funny, I said, well, that's kind of an outlandish request. But, you can lose earrings relatively easily. But then I suppose
You could lose a bracelet.
You could lose a bracelet. That's fine.
I'm just more concerned about how you actually pay with your earring. You'd have to put your ear down to the desk and look like a complete freak.
It's a little bit odd, but some people have asked for that, you know. And I said, well, what about other ways? And they said, well, what about in your clothing? You can have things sewn into, panels on clothing, so you could just, touch your top to something. You have it in gloves, in the finger of a glove, for example. These kinds of things. And I said, so are we anywhere near embedding in under the skin? He said, well, actually, that has been trialled. So all of these things are going on. I think it's fascinating. Where would you want your chip to be, your debit chip to be, with all your details on? Because the problem is, and I said this to him, look, it's all great that you have these things, but we're human. We lose stuff.
Yeah.
And these are things you don't want to lose.
I am not against the whole chip under the skin thing. I think that's the direction we're heading in. And probably under somewhere, it can't be around the veins because I have an issue with veins. But just probably in the tip of my fingertip is a really good idea, actually. Just on your index finger.
The nail. You could have your nails done. I mean, there are all sorts of things that you could do.
You could have your nail as a chip.
You could.
You could replace your nail with a chip.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
See, you've hit on something there. So you want to get on and sort that out.
I think it's something that we're heading for sure, because it's such a nuisance to have to carry around so many different cards and pay it cash at these events, right? It just takes so long. The lines build up because you have to wait for your change back, etc., etc. So I like the idea.
See, this is what banks are going for. They're going for convenience. They're trying to get around that. They're trying to offer additional customer service, that kind of thing. And you know that if you can pay with your phone or a debit card or a credit card, or you've got your Knoll card,
or your finger,
or your nail on your index finger, as she wants. But if you could combine all of that into one that you would never lose and it was secure, it's kind of like the grail, isn't it, of being secure with your money. But that's what they're looking to do.
We'll get there eventually, I'm sure of it.
This is Drive Live with Tim Elliott and Alex Hershey.
On Dubai.